you can work out they're black on top and white underneath. Colour markings for the southern hemisphere humpback. There's also a northern hemisphere humpback whale that migrates south from the northern regions down to places like Hawaii each year. They're basically the same shape and size animal, but they're predominantly black all over, with a few little white patches here and there on the underside of their flukes or their pec fins. Sometimes I'll sing a song trying to attract the attention of a female. Shut down and throw the hydrophone over. A bit of a listen on what's going on down below. They're basically filter feeders. If they're taking any water, they'll use their tongue to push the water back out through the baleen plate, trapping all that very thick milk inside their mouth. And these little guys are going to consume anywhere up to 200 or 300 litres of it a day. And they've got a weight gain of around 50. She's a fairly young. Tail shot here, lifts up the tail again, there you go. Now that's their fingerprint, the other side of those. Breaching is when they come up head first and they'll spin around and crash back down on their back. What he's doing there is that head lunge, they'll come up head first and slam their chin down on the surface. When the adults do it, it tends to be a bit more of an aggressive manoeuvre. A lot of the big boys, when they're foxing the trade that these guys are generally famous for. The humpback whales are the 5th largest out of all the whale species, but they are the most acrobatic. Head lunging and breaching and tail slapping, peg slapping, all that sort of thing. The little calves are very clumsy and uncoordinated when they're learning the tricks. A bit like little kids trying to learn how to walk, tripping over their feet. These guys just pop out in any general direction. In between feeds, as I mentioned, they sometimes get a very set sort of pattern. When they come up head first, they spin around and crash back down on their back. And their eyes are a long way back on either side of their head, just in front of their side pectoral fins. So by getting their eyes well above the surface and spinning around, they can have a good look at the land surrounding them. They've got fantastic eyesight. So it's a navigational aspect. So they're travelling north and they'll land to the right when they're travelling south. Other times when you see adults, they'll just throw one after another, after another, after another. Sometimes lay up on their side and lift their side pectoral fin up and slap it on the surface, followed by a couple of breaches and then back into peg slapping. They get into a bit of a routine occasionally. That could be a bit of attracting attention. Any sort of fit water, it's one way they can attract attention to themselves. Other pods in the area can pick up on it. And other times it's a bit of showing off from a male or a female to each other. These ways, so these adults aren't feeding during their migration, although it's not reported or documented as such that they seek out feed during the migration, but they have been seen feeding. So if the opportunity arises, they'll stop and snack on small krill in the waters when they leave the Antarctic. That's their feeding ground. So what the adults do is basically gorge themselves through the summer months, and it's all stored up as body fat or blubber when they depart for their long reserves. You can appreciate this female's producing such a large quantity of milk for her calf. Very taxing on her.